Hi, my name is Lilly Cardenas, and I've been fishing in the Florida Keys since I was 10 years old. Now, I'm going to show you some of the best fly fishing anywhere in the world, right here. The Florida Keys are a chain of islands extending south and west from the Florida mainland for about 100 miles, like a string of pearls ending 90 miles from Cuba. Halfway along the string is an island called Marathon. It's known as the heart of the Keys, and for good reason. It's everything you could possibly want for an exceptional fishing trip or a great vacation. Getting here is easy. Drive down from anywhere in the USA or Canada, or fly into Fort Lauderdale, Miami, or Key West and rent a car. Over the years, I spent countless hours on the ocean with my father, so I've had the benefit of his professional secrets and his expertise in targeting almost every single species in these waters. Now, I'm going to share those secrets with you. Before we go fishing, let's take a minute to talk about the climate, the types of species we're looking for, where we're going to find them, and how we're going to catch them. Cudas, like this, often over 4 feet long, are common here year-round. Don't let anyone tell you these are a trash fish. A barracuda is a bonefish with teeth. They'll jump and run with boundless energy, and they provide great sport. Their natural camouflage is superb, so instead of looking for them, look instead for their shadow. Otherwise, they'll be gone by the time you try and toss a fly at them. They're great to catch because of their aggressive nature, their speed, and their jumping ability. Don't forget, a wire leader is essential because barracuda have serrated teeth that will cut straight through your monofilament. Try using a 10-weight fly rod and a green monofilament fly that resembles a needlefish. Now, stripping for cuda is simple. You put that rod underneath your arms and strip with both hands as fast as possible. Tarpon are present here all year, but the big boys come in late April and stay through July. It's common to fish tarpon at dusk underneath bridges where they lay in wait for bait to come through on the tides. Tarpon are caught on the flats, in basins, and along channels. They can range in size from the baby tarpon, which are about 10 pounds, up to the big guys, which grow to be 180 pounds. Depending on their size, 10 to 12 weight rods should be used. Your leader should be 9 feet long. Tarpon have an abrasive mouth, so use a section about 12 to 18 inches of shock tippet at the end of your leader to prevent cutoffs. Tarpon feed primarily on shrimp and small bait fish, so a 120-pound fish cannot extend much energy to feed for such a small piece of protein. So the best anglers will keep the fly in front of the fish for as long as possible, but the line has to be stripped somewhat to indicate the fly is alive. Now, permit are generally an offshore fish, but they come inshore to feed. They're most easily spotted on calm days in water 18 inches to 3 feet deep. Permit are the most wary fish on the flats. In the Middle Keys, they average 15 to 20 pounds. Most people fly fish for permit with a 9 or 10 weight rod, 9 to 12 feet of leader, and a crab pattern fly. When fly fishing for permit, a new strategy developed over the last 10 years is that basically you shouldn't move the fly, at least until the fish sees it. And then the strip should be minimal so that the fly moves an inch or two at a time. Some anglers believe that a permit caught on fly is a lifetime achievement. Can you believe that this is the winter in the Florida Keys? It generally gets up to 70 or 85 degrees here, and then in the summer, 95. In the Keys, bonefish average about 8 pounds. Though more plentiful in the Bahamas, they're much smaller and only average about 2 to 3 pounds, so it's much more exciting to fish them here. You just can't imagine the adrenaline rush when that big one takes off hooked up to your favorite fly. You can find them anytime the water temperature is between 70 and 90 degrees. Anglers find these fish feeding both solitary and in schools. 8-weight fly rods are commonly used with a fluorocarbon leader, so it's less visible to the fish. Bonefish are crustacean eaters, so you want to choose a fly pattern that looks a lot like what they're eating. Bonefish like a longer strip, and the fly absolutely has to be on the bottom to get a bonefish to take, because bonefish will naturally pin their prey to the bottom before sucking it into their crushers. We've got a lot of muddy patches, and we've also got some seagrass. This is ideal conditions for bonefish. And what's going to happen when we see some tailings, we're going to get off the boat and we're going to wade out to where we see the school or the single fish. What we're looking for now is that school of bonefish that we saw earlier. Now what we're really doing here is stalking the fish. The key now is to spot the tailing and possibly the shadows in the water. I'm seeing some more tails right over here. One's tailing right now. We're going to cast out here. It's about 45, 50 feet away. We're getting close. Now it looks like they're turning. Nope, they lost interest. You can catch redfish to 10 pounds around the Everglades and trophy cobia in the bay in the spring. Now, redfish are a great sport for beginning fly casters because they're easy to spot in shallow water with their tails above the surface. Redfish will grow to be about 5 or 6 pounds and will readily take a fly if you cast it directly in front of their face. Now, they don't have great eyesight, so you want a fly that's bushy and will float well, not sink directly to the seagrass when you cast it. This way, when it passes in front of them, they can see it better and have more time to get at it. To catch these redfish, use your bonefish rod, a 7 or 8 weight. Look for mangrove snapper and snook in and around the mangrove roots, but be careful. You got to be ready to set that hook quickly or else they'll dive back into the roots and cut your line off. Casting for snook underneath the mangrove canopy has to be close and precise. When a snook takes a fly, it's essential that you apply sideways pressure in order to draw him out of the mangroves. Otherwise, he'll find a way to entangle you in the roots and he'll cut you off on sharp clams or barnacles growing on the roots. Bonefish or permit tackle can be used on snook. It's a great game fish that jumps and pulls hard. There's a variety of shark all year, anything from lemon shark, black tips to bull shark. Sharks in these flats generally weigh in from 100 to 180 pounds. So what I'm going to do today is use my 12-weight rod. This is normally my tarpon rod, but today it's outfitted with a shark fly. It's a bright orange fly that'll catch the shark's attention. Lemon sharks are a common sight on these flats. They're identified by their yellow-brown coloration and a second dorsal fin which is nearly as large as the first. They can be seen on the flats rummaging around for small crustaceans or lying at rest on the bottom. Bonnet heads are also a common sight on these flats. They're in the hammerhead family and they're identified by their shovel nose shape. When fishing for sharks, it is essential to strip the fly line so that the fly will move at the same speed as the shark. Unlike barracuda, the shark will not chase the fly. They need to be spoon-fed. So what we do in order to pique the shark's interest is we put a chum bag in the water to create a slick. It brings them in with the scent, and then we can present the fly. In northern rivers and lakes, you know exactly what to expect, but down here that's not the case. Anything can happen. During the winter, you can find mackerel almost anywhere around here, but put a short piece of wire on your tippet, or else you're going to make your fly shop owner a very happy guy. See, that's one of the nice things about fly fishing here. You can actually watch the fish take the fly. Just like that. Oh, that's a beautiful fish. Oh, and there he goes. There's a legal tarpon release right there. Jacks are a great sport on fly rod because they generally travel in marauding schools and will bite anything that moves. Oftentimes, anglers will find jacks following around stingrays or sharks. But be careful. That jack that takes your fly while following around a shark will quickly transform from predator to prey. Though few and far between, it's even possible to catch a grand slam in the Florida Keys. That's a tarpon, permit, and bonefish on fly in the same day. If you achieve this, then you'll be in very exclusive company. I'm using a yellow popper, and you'd be amazed how many different species will hit it. I've destroyed half a dozen of these recently. The body's made of foam, so they chew it up pretty fast. The best all-around fly rod is going to be an 8 or 9 weight. I'm fishing with a TFO Axiom 9 weight and a 375 reel. Whatever you use, make sure you have at least 200 yards of backing on your reel, because when you hook up to that bonefish, he'll take 100 yards without even thinking about it. For tarpon or larger sharks, you're going to need a heavier rod. Not all fly rods are the same. There's full flex, mid flex, and tip flex. Talk to your fly shop specialist and have them help you decide which rod is right for you. Your choices of fly line are important down here. Floating line will generally serve your needs for most circumstances, but be sure you have tropical line. Your northern freshwater line just isn't ideal for these warm tropical waters. For now, choose a good general purpose line and then move on to specialty lines as you get more experience.
What I'm using here today for my line is the Jim Teeny Professional Series. And I gotta tell you, it's probably the best line I've ever thrown.
There are lines that can improve your casting results on windy days, and some for sight fishing near mangroves or along shorelines. For that, I use a shorter line, 85 feet in a fluorescent white color, which is easy to see in my peripheral vision, a benefit for control. I'm usually only casting distances of about 40 or 50 feet when I'm near mangroves, but control is important, because it's Murphy's Law that the only mangrove branch your best fly snags on is the one just out of reach. There are other lines like this 12 weight that are developed especially for distance casting a heavier fly, often into the wind.
Now, if you're a beginner at fly fishing, try upsizing the line for the rod that you're using. For example, if you're casting with an 8 weight rod, try using a 9 weight line, and I think you'll find it's a lot easier to throw.
Just a little trick to help you remember what weight fly line is on your reel. Take a marker and make a wide band for 5 and a small band for 1. This right here is a 12 weight line. Your leader length can be anywhere from 7.5 feet for bluefish to 10, 12, or even 15 feet, and generally 12 to 15 pound test with a heavier bite tippet tied on, up to 50 pound test. Some of these leaders are specifically made for species like bluefish and Kudor sharks, incorporating tiger wire or retwistable hay wire to minimize cutoffs. There isn't much that's more upsetting than losing your favorite fly, except losing the fish too.
My bonefish leaders generally 12-pound fluorocarbon, but I go up to 80 pounds sometimes for some of the other species that we fish.
It's a good idea to color code your leaders so you know what weight they are later. Some, like these, are color coded for you.
You don't necessarily need a boat to fish in Marathon. You can do some wading right offshore. But with a boat, you can get to places like this. Way out here off the beaten path, there's a lot less fishing pressure. Just trying to shake that fly out. We're fishing at the edge of the bank and the current is just sweeping through here. That's a good spot for the fish to come and feed. And that's why they're all schooling over here. On a day like today, you just can't beat this visibility. It's so great to see these fish before you actually cast to them.
Some of the flies most favored by guides here are clousers in green and turquoise, some crazy charlies for bonefish, a few cuda flies like these look very much like needlefish in the water and prove irresistible, a couple of these in red for shark, some tarpon flies like these, and of course some crab flies for permit. Your crab flies should approximate the bottom color where you're fishing, so tie in a green for weed and light brown for sandy bottom.
Between the bluefish and the mackerel, we've gone through a lot of flies today. They just chew them up. You know, I have a weakness for tarpon flies. Some girls like shoes.
We're fishing from a Lanier Custom Supercat. It can be powered to run at over 100 miles per hour, so we can get up to Shark River on Florida's west coast, over to the Content Keys, or up to the Everglades National Park without much lost time. I don't think that there's another flats boat made that's a Supercat's equal. We have Lenco trolling tabs on this boat with a wireless remote control, so there's no trolling motor on the foredeck to tangle the fly line. Our power pole is a great asset to have. It lets us stop and hold the boat in shallow water instantly without having to throw out an anchor. So when that school of tarpon or bluefish comes cruising along the bank, you can be assured you will hold position regardless of wind or current without spooking them. If you haven't tried fly fishing and you're not sure you want to make an investment in tackle before you try it, that's not a problem here. Brian Barnes, owner of the Old English Fly Shop in Marathon, can rent you a fly outfit, give good advice about where to fish during your visit, which flies you should use, and where to catch the various species. He'll also credit your rental against the purchase of fly tackle so you can go home with your very own outfit for next time. His regular fly fishing seminars are an excellent way to get a head start on how to throw a fly and which flies to use.
See those guys?
Brian can book a top local fishing guide and a boat for you if you want to try for an elusive grand slam or just a great day on the flats or backcountry fishing with a local expert.
Try a cast to 11:30, John.
Right there?
Our guides know these waters inside and out, when and where to fish for each species, and they know where the fish were holding yesterday, an advantage you can't beat.
If you've never been to the Florida Keys, you're missing a unique experience. Come check us out for a week or two. We'll hook you up with some great fishing.
Now, why don't I show you what real excitement is all about? I'm at the bridge with my friend Mike Wickert, a top marathon guide. Mike hooked up a customer right here with a nice tarpon yesterday. We're going to see if they're still here today. You're getting closer, Mike. Oh, there's a couple of big guys in there. Here we go. Here we go. He's taking it. I'm hooked up. I hope he doesn't make a run for the bridge. Oh, he's going underneath the boat, Mike. Smart fish. Like the look of this boat. Oh, I need to turn him back this way, get him away from the bridge.
Come here, baby. Come here, sweetheart. Come on.
I guess he's not quite ready yet, Mike.
Come on, sweetheart. Here, bud. Let me know.
You wore right through that leader, Mike. He is gone. Took my fly, too.
Get pressure on the fish, and you can see that, I don't know if you can pick that up. We're trying to get the bite. It's less visible than the 80. You get more bites, but you only get so much time. We had that fish on for probably 15 minutes. That's all you're going to get out of a 60-pound cast. Whenever that fish wanted to go one way, she made him go the other. Tired it out quick, that fish was ready to be landed.
Now, Mike, that was a barbless hook we just used to catch that tarpon.
I always use barbless hooks for two reasons, really. One is it makes it easier to actually hook the fish. Tarpon has such a hard mouth. It's tough to get the hook in them with a barb on there. Without the barb, the hook goes in easier. And the second, and probably the more important reason, is this is strictly a catch and release fishery. If we lose the fish like that one that we broke off, that fish has a good chance of shaking that fly out all on his own because it's barbless. If that fly had a barb in it, that fish would be stuck with that hook for who knows how long. You know, it's a limited resource. There's only so many of them.
Right.
The more we can preserve, the better. Back in the day, people just killed them just to hang them on the dock to look at.
Yeah, nowadays you can't even bring them in the boat.
They sell a kill tag.
Right.
And that's primarily for people that want to catch a world record fish. If not, you do just what we did there. You either break him off right at the boat. Hopefully you can grab the fish and get the fly out is preferable. But if not, break him off. That fish will throw that fly eventually.
Right.
And Lily, it's really cool that we're right here under the bridges and just come out here after dinner, sitting 20 feet from a bridge. People driving right over the bridge don't even know what's going on. You can jump by 80-pound tarpon.